Okay, so we are going to move on now to the top 15 horror movies of the 1990s. You guys ready? Are you ready to tackle this?
Are you ready?
Yeah. So let's go.
Let's get.
Yeah, it's on you, Rob. We're leaving you out to dry again.
Okay. One of my favorite vampire movies is going to be, of course, John Carpenter's Vampires.
Okay.
Wow, top 15.
That's still like one of my favorite vampire movies. Nothing better than James Woods talking shit to vampires and killing them.
It's a bit of a bold choice there from Rocco.
I know.
I think we're all fans of Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh yeah, it's
some people, and it's maybe not top tier Carpenter, maybe second tier, but some people don't like that one as much as the others. But we're all fans here.
Mm-hmm.
I love that fucking movie. I can't tell you how many times I watched that movie back in the day on like HBO.
That's what I'm saying. Like I always watched it when it came
Like
on.
I just finished the East Coast feed. Now it's time to go to the HBO West Coast channel and watch this again. But that was a really good movie, though. I mean, there's this professional body of vampire hunters, and they think they're hot shit, and they think they won some kind of battle. Think again.
The question is, did you either of you see the sequel, and do you know who stars in it?
No.
Oh, I have. John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi's in it?
He's a vampire hunter in the second one. Yeah.
Oh, we should watch that.
And it's one of the characters from Family Matters is on there as well.
I just remember Bon Jovi's, and I taped it off TV and watched it once. It's not worth more than one watch, probably.
I think I saw it on Sci-Fi. I had it be on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, that's a movie that has to be
probably
for the Sci-Fi.
Probably on Stars back in the day or something. All right, I guess I'll step up to the plate here, and I'm also picking a vampire movie. Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah,
that's on there. Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's when I fell in love with Salma Hayek. Just saying.
Go ahead. Like I said, I didn't go super in depth. I just kind of went through like Letterboxd and sort of like 90s horror movies.
Yeah.
And that's just one I've been watching since forever ago.
It makes me want to watch that movie tonight.
And it's one of those movies, like anytime somebody talks about it, I'm like, I can put that in.
Yeah. Yeah. When that movie came out, my parents were divorced, and my dad lived with one of his friends that he knew through the neighborhood or whatever. And he had a D-Scrambler.
Oh yeah.
So you could watch all the pay-per-view shit.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many times I watched From Dusk Till Dawn while it was on pay-per-view. Like that was just my fucking jam back then.
As a kid, I always wanted a pump action crossbow in that movie. I was always looking. I was like, "Where? It's got to be there. You can buy one."
Oh, the part where what's his face is sitting down, and the one
Sex Machine.
Yeah, what is his name in real life? I have his audio. Yeah, Tom Savini. And Tom Savini hits the little button.
It's a double 6 shooter.
Yeah, and he shoots that bitch with the little stick pistol or whatever you want to call it. But man, that was such a great fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So it's on me, right?
Yeah.
Can we have a 90s list without putting Scream in it?
Somebody was going to pick that.
Somebody's gonna pick it.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Listen, horror was on a down slope in the 90s. You know, everything had kind of been done before. There wasn't anything original. Wes Craven comes along and he's like, let's kind of make fun of the movies that I've made over the past couple decades, and let's do something new and fresh with it, and let's make a new slasher movie out of all this while making fun of all this stuff. Let's have fun with it. And man, it was a dynamite movie. This is another one. It's a must watch every October for me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but dare I say, it's probably the best horror movie of the 90s.
Oh, it's top.
So, it's definitely the best slasher of the 90s, I think.
Because a lot of the other ones are going downhill at the time, like Halloween and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Halloweens were pretty bad in the 90s,
right?
With the exception of like one.
Yeah,
and we know it's that one,
and we still love to watch it.
I think either between me and you, we'll probably pick it.
Yeah.
So, all right,
I do love to rewatch Scream just for like the 90s middle class home decors.
Yeah.
Like where Sydney falls asleep on her couch downstairs. I'm like, oh man, that's such a 90s living room.
Yeah.
I love the memes that have been out here lately where they're like, look at this group of young teens enjoying themselves. Not a cell phone in sight.
Living in the moment.
Man, and that was big because he got Drew Barrymore. I mean, they really advertised it as like a Drew Barrymore movie. Officer right in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
People are like, I was like shocked too. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I got killed
And
Drew.
They didn't just offer, they gutted her pretty much.
Hung
Yeah.
her and
I mean,
gutted her.
yeah. So it was good.
Did you guys ever call anybody in the 90s and put on a freaky voice and ask them what their scary movie was?
Oh, I'm sure.
We probably did it sometime. What's your favorite scary movie?
My big boyfriend's going to beat you up. Oh, okay.
It's like, you hang up with me again, bitch. I'll cut you like a fish.
Do you find yourself wanting to do like the Jiffy popcorn?
Yeah.
Like wanting to make it on the stove like
Yeah.
she was?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had a good batch of Jiffy popcorn. I think it's just so hard to make.
Yeah. There's no way. I don't think anybody has, because you always end up burning like half of
Right.
it. Rob, it's on you. Come on, Zilla. Give us something good here.
The wheels are turning.
Wheels are turning. Okay. So I'm going to go with The Faculty.
The Faculty.
It's still, to this day, one of the best sci-fi horror movies.
Faculty is also on my list.
That's another one where I'm kind of like, is it really horror or is it sci-fi?
Yeah, it's kind of like,
It's a fun movie,
Yeah.
and it's well deserving to be on a best of 90s list, if you ask me. And you know, it's not just my list, it's our list as the podcast. So I'll allow it. But
I think it's horror enough. It's basically a slasher movie.
pretty much with, you know, just alien. Well, and then it kind of goes back, like, I guess you could say Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a horror movie, and it's, you know, pretty much a different form of that, but it's definitely good. What's her face was great as the teacher in that gets possessed. Well, not possessed, but inhabited by the aliens.
Famke Jensen or something like that.
Yeah, the
Or-
chick.
yeah.
She was Jean in the
Yeah.
the X-Men movies, and she was in Goldeneye.
It's another Robert Rodriguez with Selma Hayek there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's in it.
yeah. Oh man, gotta watch The Faculty now.
Yeah.
It might be like a Scream Faculty night.
Right.
All right, PBS.
Oh boy, let me see here. Get back to the list. Let's pick. Oh, so many I want to get on the list here. Let's pick Event Horizon.
That's on my list as well.
Man, we are just some sci-fi loving mofos on
We
this.
do. We love that shit.
That's another one where I'm like, is it really a horror movie? But I'll allow it.
When Sam Neill drags you to hell, it is a horror movie.
That's a Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Rob might be mad at me for this. He may be mad at me. I'm gonna go Halloween H2O.
It's my list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great Halloween movie. And it was really big because, you know, there'd been this gap where Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't involved with the franchise, and she makes this giant comeback. And of course, Josh Hartnett's in it. I mean, can you go wrong with Josh
That's
Hartnett?
like, I think one of his like first movies, like that I remember seeing him in.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, Josh Hartnett, he slayed it at the end of the 90s, didn't he?
he did.
He was on top of it. But yeah, I'm going with that one. And the ending to that was just so freaking great. Can you? I mean, I didn't see it in theaters.
I did. Everybody cheered and clapped at the
Yes,
end.
the part where she decapitates Michael at the end, I just imagine everybody going nuts, you know, throwing shit up in the air.
When he's reaching out to grab her hand, they're like, what the fuck? Don't be-" He just hauls off, and in course they fucking bring him back.
Yeah. Shit. No one cares.
Yeah.
Decapitate that mofo.
Right.
And then they had to ruin it with the other one. I mean, it just kind of shit on that
Trick or
movie.
treat, motherfucker.
Right.
All right, Busta.
You know,
Shut
I
up.
always imagine which one was that? Was that Resurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wished, and you know, I don't really like found footage movies, but I wish it had done that more as a found footage movie because they got the camera set up in the house and all
And that
that.
was actually kind of ahead of its time as well when Scream 4 came out as well. So I feel like with that, it was ahead of its time.
I think it would have been a little ahead on the found footage stuff if they'd have tried that.
All right. So it's on you again, Zilla.
This is a personal favorite. I don't think it's like best, but I gotta go with The Final Friday. Jason Goes to Hell.
I appreciate you, sir.
Mhm.
I appreciate you. I love that movie.
I do. Every time it's on, I love it.
That one gets a lot of hate because, you know, it's not exactly a Jason movie, but I watched it once. I thought it was all right.
Well, the kills, the brutality of it, and then I think they were trying to, with this movie, integrate, besides Freddy, was also Ash from Evil Dead, because in that the Nomicon is in it. So
they're trying to do something. After,
they were.
After 8 or 9 movies.
That would be so cool for them to do a crossover with Ash and Jason. That would have been cool.
Well, I think Robert Englund said he would love to do it, and I think he's like one of the writers said that. Well, I don't know how to bring you back. He's like, you had a fucking dog piss on me, and I came back to life. You'll figure it out. I mean, like, it's true.
I did see an interview with Robert Englund the other day, and he said he just can't do a Freddy movie anymore.
I think he's just too old to sit for the makeup and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that he was like, I could do like one take, but I can't do, constant takes and all that. But kind of makes you sad. So
it'd be nice if they did like some animated thing.
And that's what he said. He was like, I'm 100% down to do some high-end animation, but as far as an actual live action movie, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I felt,
dude's in his 70s. I mean,
you just can't expect people to be that workhorse anymore when they get that age, especially for a movie where you're doing a little kind of, crazy shit here and there.
Right.
So, all right, PBS, it's on you.
I mean, since we're doing horror icons, I'm doing Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
It's on my list as well.
I was going to pick that next if you hadn't gotten there.
Which I don't know if I would have put H2O or the Final Nightmare there on my list. They're both okay. But New Nightmare is, it came out a year or two before Scream, and it was really Wes Craven kind of starting to get into the meta horror thing. And I still remember the movie trailer of like, one of the FX guys builds Freddy's glove and like it starts like crawling over the set or whatever, and freaked me the hell out.
Yeah.
Bitch.
That's a great movie too. And once again, he kind of took his old material and put a different spin on it this time, and it was good. To me, I only acknowledge like 3 Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and that's the third one.
I always say I think my Elm Street hot take is always that Dream Warriors is a little bit overrated, and I always think New Nightmare is like my second favorite Elm Street movie.
Definitely, I'm right there with you. When we were in line to get our photo op with Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp, people were talking about how great Dream Warriors were, and we both looked at each other like, if only these people knew us.
I really did want to be like, it's okay,
just to see the reaction, like this motherfucker.
Okay, so it's on me, I guess.
Yep.
Man. All right. So I think I'm gonna go with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
It's on my list.
It's a great slasher movie.
It is.
I mean, probably one of my favorite horror movies, if I'm being honest.
The only time you're ever gonna be afraid of a fisherman.
Yeah. I mean, and the cast was so great in that movie too.
Yep.
So but yeah, that's my pick. So
it's a fun one.
Who doesn't love to see what's her face?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, showing her big old boobies around, like, come on, come on.
What are you waiting for?
Come on.
Waiting for? Wait for you to take off that top.
Big old teenage crush right there.
Oh yeah.
Who didn't love that girl back when you were a kid?
She was very much influence over our generation. We'll say that. She was very popular. All right, so let me plug this in on our little list here. Rob, you can go ahead with your
what are we up to, 6 or 9?
9.
So my personal favorite is probably not great, but I love Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
Okay. I don't think I've ever watched that all the way through.
I watched it all the time when it came on.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's a fun one.
1995.
Some Billy Zane.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's got a pretty stacked cast too.
Yeah. Everyone loves Billy Zane in that movie.
Oh, he's great in it.
That's another guy. Like, where the fuck's Billy Zane been?
He just plays in these really bad B movies.
Can somebody get him some quality work? I mean,
I feel like wasn't he in something pretty good recently?
He might have been.
I know he was in Titanic as the piece of shit, and he's real big because he got cast and played in the Phantom.
Yeah, well, he did the Phantom, and then he was like the running joke in Zoolander. So, they go to that party and Billy Zane's there.
Yeah.
All right. So it is on you, PBS.
I think Scrolling. I think I will have to pick Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I was waiting on you to pick that.
Some Francis Ford Coppola. I remember it was a big deal when this one came out. He went back and like did, I don't know if they're like all practical effects, but like his son basically became like an FX supervisor because he had to figure out how to like practically do all these effects that hadn't been done in like 20 or 30 or 40 years.
Man, people really love to shit on Keanu Reeves in this movie. I'm like, you leave Keanu alone.
He's not that bad. I mean,
No.
if he's the worst thing about that movie, it's still not that bad.
Right, exactly.
We got Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, Winona.
Like, you try acting when there's 3 attractive women pretending to,
so rub upon you.
Yeah. So
Give you the Transylvania dry hump.
chances are you won't be able to maintain that accent that you're trying to put on, even though he doesn't really try to put on an accent.
Accents are always funny. Like, I don't know. I don't really pay attention. They're like time travel. I'm not going to nitpick them.
Yeah. Okay. So is it back to me? It's back to me. So I've got like a list up here of like things you can watch or whatever. So we've already done a handful of these. You know what? I'm just gonna throw it out here. I'm gonna put The Craft.
Okay.
It's witchcraft, a little something for everybody on this list here. And yeah, it was one of the better like horror movies of that time. If you can, it was a witchcraft curse kind of movie, but very solid cast too. Nev Campbell's in that. So
let your basic white girl out, buddy. Do it.
Hell yeah, dude. I love this movie. I mean, I was a big Nev Campbell fan in the 90s.
They used to play it on Sci-Fi or TNT like all the time. My sister loves this movie.
It's funny too. Isn't the one killer in this movie as well from Scream?
Is Skeet in that?
I think yeah, Skeet's in it.
Skeet's in it.
Yeah, Skeet's in it. Skeet.
All over the 90s.
Okay, let me plug this in. The Craft. How awesome would that be to just be able to change your hair?
All right. So what is this? The final round here? Up to 12 picks?
Yes, 12. So we're on 13, then 14, 15.
Big moment, Rob. What's it going to be? What's making it into the canon here?
I got to have it, but Army of Darkness.
Oh, you bastard.
Got to.
I was thinking about having that on my list, but I just couldn't quite put it on my list. Good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Hail to the king, baby. Give me some sugar.
And
baby.
I remember seeing that movie theater. I had no idea about Evil Dead 2 at all. I was like, this movie's fucking great. I loved it.
And that's kind of like the beauty of Army of Darkness. You can just kind of watch it as a standalone film.
Yo, she bitch.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So many great lines from that movie too.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Hail to the king. All right, I guess it's on you now.
All right, I'm going to get this one in the top 15 just because it's 90s Halloween staple that I love it. Ernest Scared Stupid.
That's on my list as well.
My guy. Is it a horror movie though? I mean,
oh yeah, freak me the hell out.
It's a little kid horror movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's got designs. The trolls designed by I'm going to say the name wrong. The Choido brothers, who did Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Eartha Kitt's crazy in it.
Oh man, I'm left with the last pick. I didn't want to pick the last pick.
Wanted to leave it on Rob to slip up there at the end on a banana peel.
Man, what do I go with here? There's Brain Dead.
There was one movie I wanted to say, but I just go with that one though. But
see, I want to kind of put Wolf in here with Jack Nicholson.
You're not going to put bad movies.
But I can't do it because of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You see, Rob, you're not going to do it? Let me finish, Rob. But I feel like Wolf isn't necessarily like a true on horror movie here, going back to this. So yes, Rob, I have to put a nice werewolf movie in here in the top 15. We're going Bad Moon.
My wolf story is that back in the day, my dad and my sister and I were going to the movies, and I forget what we were going to see. And we walk into the theater, and it's dark already, and like it's full. And we sit down, and we didn't realize it, but the show times must have been running late or something. And we sat down like at the very end of Wolf. All those people must have been looking like, what the hell are they doing? It's the end of the movie.
Right. I did like the concept of Wolf.
I still need to see it. I still need to watch it all the way.
Yeah, it's a great movie. The
Yeah.
the part where he like pisses on the dude's
Yeah.
shoe or whatever, like that's great. That's
I like when
classic
they're like
shit.
fighting like actual dogs who like and he bites him. He's like, "Roar!"
Here's a couple honorable mentions I'll throw out. Sixth Sense, not really a horror movie, but it had a lot of influence back then in the 90s. Stephen King's Misery. Misery was a big one.
I was surprised you didn't say Misery.
That would have been on there if maybe if I'd had one more pick. We'll talk about this one here in a little bit, I think, but Silence of the Lambs, again, not quite a horror movie, but definitely
some pretty graphic,
inspirational.
Stuff, yeah.
I was going to put the It miniseries from the 90s on there because I always think of that as a movie. And one of my favorites, again, maybe not quite a horror movie, but Cube from the 90s. Love Cube.
I have that on there as well.
No, I've never seen Cube.
Yeah. Cube's awesome.
Yeah. Everybody tells me like, oh, you'll love it. Watch it. And I'm just never find the time to watch it.
Yeah, it's all hyped up.
I would say my honorable mentions has to be Idle Hands. I love Idle Hands.
Idle Hands was great.
I remember going to the movie theater, like the 50 Cent. I've seen it like 5-6 times.
Mhm.
I loved it.
I don't know if I've ever seen that all the way through.
Oh, it's hilarious because like the Offspring's playing and then the fucking hand comes down and scalps the lead singer.
What about Tremors, man?
That was on my list as
Not
well.
one of us said
This is a fun one.
House on a Haunted Hill.
That's on there as well.
That was a really good
Yeah.
movie. I mean, that's 99. That's at the end of this
Blair Witch Project.
decade. Yeah, the
If
Blair Witch.
If Hot Sauce were here, Blair Witch would have been on there.
Yeah.
I never like Blair Witch was okay, but I didn't think it was like. I mean, obviously it was groundbreaking because they did the handy cam and it was found footage, but I don't know. I can't solidify it as like my top, top list for that.
I also
era.
had The Relic. That was a great monster.
The Relic
movie.
was great too. Yeah.
Mimic.
Del Toro.
Del Toro. I also had Bordello of Blood, but I like Demon Knight better.
None of us said Blade either.
I had Blade on my list, but I'm like,
I was surprised it didn't come out of you.
Too. That would have been on my list if I'd had a few more picks. So it's on my list for sure.
I had American Werewolf in Paris, but man, that CGI did not age.
It doesn't hold up.
No. I still like the concept of it, but
I loved American Werewolf in Paris when it came out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really good movie for its time, but the years have not been kind to it as far as comparing it to other horror movies that have held up. Like Bad Moon still holds up today. The Howling still holds up today. American Werewolf in London is never going to age out of existence because it is the best, it's the best werewolf movie out there, I think. But it's sad that we have to penalize it for that because, I mean, it was a good movie for its time, but it just doesn't hold up nowadays. That being said, even with like a first-time watcher, I could see them not liking it because they're used to seeing much better produced movies, I guess you could say, as far as like the effects and stuff like that. They really fucked up by not doing practical effects in that movie.
Yeah. I remember like even what was it? Underworld, like the werewolves in that were great.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That was on there.
That's definitely a hard honorable mention for me.